It's Money in the Bank 2025, and the show kicks off with chaos, and the men are fighting for the coveted briefcase, and the high risk kicks right into gear from the start. Two great luchadors throw caution to the wind as Americano is dueling Penta, but he gets absolutely destroyed Canadian style onto a ladder. Meanwhile, on the other side, LA Knight is duking it out with longtime rival Solo Sikoa. Knight feels like he was cost everything by the bloodline and doesn't want to let it go easily. But another man who is almost single-handedly responsible for blowing the OG bloodline up demolishes Andrade with a vicious buckle bomb. However, it's how the match culminates that has everyone's jaw on the floor, because after Americano is wiped out completely by his own fault, Penta also falls victim to a BFT on the ladder, and Solo eats a heinous stomp onto the steel as well. It comes down to two, and LA Knight and Seth Rollins are trading shots at the base of the ladder, when all of a sudden, through the crowd is CM Punk, and he slides into the ring to a huge pop, and he hits Rollins with a GTS, and it seems to hand Knight the case, until boom, he gets ripped in half by Bron Breakker, and then Punk gets squashed by Bronson Reed, and then Reed watches on while Breakker cleans up the mess. He gets rid of Punk and Knight out of the ring, and then Bronson picks up Rollins onto his shoulders and takes him to the top of the ladder himself. And Rollins, with his last gasp of energy, grabs the case and wins the match. It's absolutely disgusting, but it's very much predictable, with this group, under the guise of Paul Heyman, getting closer to holding that power once again. However, as the dust settles from the carnage, we look ahead to the main event, where John Cena and Logan Paul look to ruin wrestling even more. And after they are seen having a conversation with Paul Heyman, a sinister, very calculated vibe begins to fill the arena. And you could feel there is something brewing in the main event. But what has also been brewing is the personal hatred between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. So much so that Becky has said that if she loses, she will never challenge for the Intercontinental Championship so long as Lyra Valkyria holds it. And the personal build-up explodes the match to life, with Becky taking the scrappy route, because she knows if she tries to make the match more of a brawl rather than straight wrestling, she is the best chance. And it's smart, considering Lyra is one of the best female wrestlers in the world. And that shows when she grounds Becky and starts to work her over, all to the point where Becky starts to lose it and she gets frustrated, and she takes the turnbuckle pad off and she wants to slam Lyra's head off the steel. However, the referee steps in and sets about fixing it, but this was always the plan, because Becky quickly throws Lyra out of the ring and then goes to grab some more steel. And she wants to end Lyra's reign in the most underhanded and brutal way possible. It's Bayley! She's back for revenge after Becky took her out at WrestleMania, and she's fired up. She nails Becky with a rose plant, and she throws her back in the ring. Lyra gives Bayley a look of thanks, and then she gets back in, and she does end it. And Lyra Valkyria retains, and Becky will no longer be able to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship while Lyra holds the title. Bayley gets her revenge, and you know that her and Becky's issue is far from over. However, what is also far from over is the work of the wise man and his client, Seth Rollins. We see them backstage, and everyone is wondering what on earth they could be cooking up. However, that is later, and it's time to see who will hold the women's Money in the Bank, and all 6 women go absolutely full noise. And there's carnage everywhere, and most of it is of course Rhea Ripley being in full wrecking ball mode. She takes out everyone she can get her hands on, but another woman who really shows out is recent Raw debutante Stephanie Valkyrie, and she goes to another level, and she goes at it with another debutante, only this time on the blue brand, Julia. And they have a huge history, but it's also a bright future. However, it's someone who many consider the future who wipes them out from the top of the ladder. There's so much on the line, and all of these women are clearly willing to do whatever it takes, including Alexa Bliss, who's trying to work over Naomi, and she drops her onto the ladder, and now Naomi's out of commission. It really feels like it's on a knife's edge. So many can win it, and Bliss has got the chance. She wants to make her assault. She climbs the ladder, but she gets stopped by Rhea Ripley, and now it's Rhea's chance to climb. However, Julia tries to stop her, but she fails. Stephanie tries to stop her as well, but she can't manage to do it. But there is one woman who does manage to stop Rhea, and it's Roxanne Perez. And it seems like it's full circle, because Roxanne seems to be one of the newest members of the group Rhea founded in Judgment Day. And we see a very jealous Raquel watching backstage with a chuff Finn Balor who just says, "See, this was all part of the plan. She took out Rhea, she's gonna take the case." And now Roxanne starts climbing, but as she reaches the top, she is met by Liv Morgan, who isn't even in the match, and she forces Roxy to crash and burn. She takes both of them out together. Her jealousy got the better of her, and she costs Roxanne the match. And now Rhea wants to climb again, but when she's there, Valkyrie is waiting, and she unbelievably stops Rhea, sending her off the top of the ladder. Stephanie then reaches up, touches the case, but she can't hold it. She's grabbed and pulled off the ladder and slammed through a table at ringside. It's completely unhinged, but that is who Naomi is now. And she climbs the ladder with a sinister look on her face to a chorus of boos and pulls down the Money in the Bank briefcase. And it feels like a real coming of age moment for her. It's been absolutely off the charts with action all night. However, it's how the show is going to close that will have people's eyes glued to the ring, because something feels like it's brewing. And as we see Cody Rhodes make his way out to a raucous reception as usual, we also see Jey Uso yeet his way to the ring with the World Championship around his waist that feels like it could have a dark cloud hanging over it. And with Cena and Logan now ready to go as well, the match is on. And the crowd couldn't be more on the side of Cody and Jey as they fight for wrestling. However, Logan shows exactly why he's been handpicked by Cena to help him ruin it. And he is as impressive as he is annoying. He's certainly taking all the shortcuts he can, and it's all at the advice of John Cena, who cuts corners of his own, and it sets them up to really punish Jey and Cody. But if we know anything about Cody and Jey, it's that they have guts and determination, and they split the fight up, and the chaos reigns as the match spills to the outside and somewhat falls apart. And with the referee trying everything they can to get it restored, Cena takes advantage and he puts on an old school word life brass knuckles. But not only that, of course Logan would have brass knuckles as well. That's his MO. And he lays out Jey Uso. And in the ring, Cena clocks Cody. However, the referee does see it and immediately DQs Cena and throws the match out. But he doesn't care. This is not what the point of it was. He just wants to ruin wrestling and ruin Cody Rhodes. And he immediately and ruthlessly bloodies up the former champion. But he also dictates to Logan to do the same to Jey, and for really good reason. Cena did a deal with the devil in Paul Heyman to make sure the briefcase stayed right away from his title. But Jey isn't afforded the same. But before Seth can even cash it in, it goes down. The OTC is back, and he comes to the aid of his cousin, and it indeed does blow the roof off. But he not only blows that off, he blows through Bronson Reed, and he blows through Bron Breakker, but most importantly, blows through Seth Rollins. The place is shaking, and Reigns stares down Heyman, and he's looking like he might be next. Till Cena tries to attack Reigns, but he escapes the AA, and then he bounces off the ropes and nails Cena with a Superman punch, and then he lines him up. Reigns is back, and not only does he have his sights set on Rollins, he just might want to come get some John Cena. And you can believe that.